be going over criterion 5 at this hour. And we will save a few minutes at the end for questions and answers. So just to be clear, the purpose of these forums is to familiarize the community, the campus community, with the 5 criterion, and each group is going to go into detail of each of the various criterions. We're going to be covering 5. In addition, wherever there were findings, those are going to be addressed very specifically in these forums, along with the college's response to those findings. So if something is not clear, please ask. I'm going to start off with criterion 5A, but first of all, the Higher Learning Commission comes as a checkup. We have audits, that's our annual checkup. We have monthly board meetings, those are monthly checkups. We have quarterly reporting in our case, those are checkups. Departments have their various checkups, different ways that they assess the goings-on in their departments, gauge success or areas of improvement, all those things are ongoing at the college. We all do it. Whether we realize it or not, we are all doing constant data gathering, assessment, and making decisions on that data. What we're going to see during criterion 5 is that the Higher Learning Commission did not see very concise evidence that we are following a systematic approach to data-driven decisions for continuous improvement. But as you will see, we do have that in place now. The Higher Learning Commission has, we have a shared responsibility to our students and our communities that we serve. We share this with the Higher Learning Commission. About the HLC, the responsibility for assuring the quality of an institution rests first with the institution itself. Institutional accreditation assesses the capacity of an institution to assure its own quality and expects it to produce evidence that it does so. So while we know we do a lot of things, we may not have conveyed that evidence to the Higher Learning Commission that we actually do that. So, everybody answer, even if it's obvious, how many criteria? Everybody in agreement? Yes, there are 5. The first, let's just read these aloud together. 1, mission. 2, integrity. 3, 4, 5. So, in one way or another, all these 5 are intricately involved in planning, in assessment, and improvement. In one way or another, you're going to see that theme throughout all of these. So, criterion 1 specifically is about the mission. And our mission is to be suited to our culture, and everything that we do is to align with that mission. So I was looking at, I think, Grand Canyon University. Does anyone know what Grand Canyon University's flavor, if you will, is? It's Christian education. So if you're to go on their website, everything they do is tied back to their mission. And it's very, very clear. It's easy to see why they're there, what they're there for. They're to educate through a certain flavor, and that's their niche. So everything we do needs to be suited to our culture. We're not going to be offering maybe oceanography or something far-fetched that we are certainly not suited to do. We do what's suited to our culture. And by culture, we mean our environment, the jobs available, our resources, what have you. Criterion 2 speaks of integrity. That everything we do in an ethical and responsible manner. Criterion 3, on the instruction and teaching side, we're looking for quality, for resources and support. That all that base is there to support good quality education. And on criterion 4, it has to do with evaluation and improvement. We need to go full circle with all our processes, from planning to implementation to evaluation to improvement. You guys have all heard of that, right? Continuous improvement. We just now are locking into a mechanism to systematically document that we are doing that. Criterion 5 has to do with the resources, and again, planning, and again, institutional effectiveness, as it spoke to at the very beginning. So criterion 5 has four components, A, B, C, and D. So criterion 5A has 5 pieces to it. 6. And criterion 5A1 has 4 pieces that they're looking at. They want to know that the college has a good foundation in its infrastructure or its physical assets, and those are buildings, our lecture halls, etc. It has a good fiscal foundation. And so if you guys look at the report, it's going to show we have strong reserves, we have consistent funding, we have appropriate budgeting. All those things show that we have a strong fiscal base. Our employees. We have an HR department that runs a tight ship. There's qualifications that are built into every position, the department directors involved, and all candidates are vetted for suitability, best fit for the position. And what is that little I? Information technology, yes, that's our technology. We're expanding in online services, we have distance ed in various capacities. We have the technology in the classrooms to deliver whenever and however we need. 5A2 speaks of resource allocation. The Higher Learning Commission is concerned that we always protect the resources first for instruction. As you can see by this graph, who can tell me the percentage for the highest area of budgeting is? Actually, that's an illusion because of the way it's tilted. But it's 37%. How dare you? That was intentional. 37% is allocated for instruction. 4.3 million for instruction out of our $12 million budget. So clearly, we can demonstrate that our emphasis for our budget is first and foremost in instruction. 5A3 speaks about the mission statement goals are realistic in light of resources and opportunities. Now, I know that on the academic side that they've gone through a thorough academic review. They've looked at their programs to see which ones are growing, which ones need a little more infusion of resources, and which ones just are not suited for the environment. We've tried, I think in the past we tried physical therapy assistant. We got funding, we got equipment. We had trouble attracting qualified instructors. We did get them, just did not get the student base. So live and learn, but those are the things that are assessed, whether to continue to infuse more resources and continue to improve the services we do have. If we're doing something well, let's do it better. If we see something that's not working, then we're going to probably scale back and reallocate the resources. 5A4, staff qualified and trained. We talked about that there is the full-fledged process, and it's outlined in the staff handbook as far as getting the best fit for the job openings. 5A5, the institution has a well-developed process in place for budgeting and for monitoring expense. While we did have, or do have, a well-documented process, one key piece was missing, although when you developed your budgets last year or were involved in it, there was planning, there was looking at historical data, there was looking into the future, there was response to the community in formulating those budgets. What was missing is we did not have a college-wide systematic approach to document what we were already doing well. So this year, raise your hand if you heard of the strategic budgeting aligned Yes, that was new this year, and it's exciting because everything we already do, now we can prove that we're doing it in a systematic way. All our budgets that we're requesting for this year are each component of our budgets are tied to an objective, to a goal in the strategic plan. As far as monitoring expense, good old cars, it is reliable to find out what's been spent and how much you have left. As soon as an RP is created, the system captures that amount and holds it in the system. As soon as there's a PO, it removes it from the balance. So at any time, any department director or any of you in a department can ask your director what's in there. Just look it up in cars and it gives you your exact, it's your checkbook online. It is a reliable system for monitoring and reporting. So when HLC was here last and they compiled their report, this 5A had 6 findings. Some of these have been highlighted, even in the newspaper. And they're as follows. Findings related to fixed assets, our FY17 audit, the foundation scholarships, or the non-issuance thereof, and 3 related to budget. 1, an overstatement, 2, modifications, and 3, the lack of it being linked to the strategic plan. I can tell you that all of those were addressed and they're documented in the response. As far as fixed assets goes, I know many of you in this room, if not all of you, were involved in helping us identify the location of all the fixed assets, if they needed to be changed, updated, new room, etc., or reported as it's no longer here, it's 20 years old. All that cleanup was a college-wide effort, and it took over 2 years because we had close to 3,000 records to reconcile. Well over 1,000 were items that were 10, 15 years old. We had hundreds of computers that used to qualify for fixed asset listed on there. How many of you remember those big bulky CPUs? We had a lot of obsolete things on our fixed assets, but because it was always so huge and things moved and we had a lot of turnover, all the records were not kept up accurately, and also we had a conversion. But at this point, we are very pleased to say that the board certified a clean listing that's been reconciled, accurate to our list. Every department director has their own list that they're accountable for. So that was a huge task, and thank you all for your contributions to that. As far as the audit opinion, we had an adverse audit opinion in FY17, which meant that the college was unable to provide financial data for the foundation. Therefore, the entire audit was compromised. So although on the regular college side, everything was fine, that was enough to get the adverse audit opinion. So the college worked with the state auditor's office and employed the services of Harshwell, who compiled what they could from the bits and pieces of records that Ricky and I were able to obtain from the banks, and they reconstructed the financials for the foundation, turned it into our auditor, and lo and behold, we're back to a clean, unmodified opinion. Clean opinion, unmodified opinion, best rating possible, all the same thing. Does that mean there are no findings? No, it doesn't mean that, because there will almost always be findings in any audit. But it's a clean opinion at this point, which is the best we can get. So again, great work that the college did in that regard. The other finding was that the foundation was not functioning, thus not issuing scholarships. I think Rick can let you guys know that the foundation was kind of put on hold, and with a lot of the members dropping out, there wasn't a foundation board. So he had left that on hold till the audit ran its course, all the taxes are filed, everything is caught up, so that he can, whoever our new president, we know our new president is, when they go to appoint new board members, they can assure the new board members that they're starting with a clean slate, if you will, for the foundation. So in the meantime, the board approved a fund. Ricky sent out again a call for if anybody wanted a temporary employee. Do you guys remember that? Up to 20 hours a week. it was $9 an hour for one semester. That was a board funded set aside to assist if there were any financial hardships for students that did not qualify for financial aid. The other finding had to do with overstatement of budget. We had overstated what we projected would come in for Pell. When students apply for Pell grants, whatever they qualify for is what we pay. So we put an estimate in there. It's just an in and out. It's nothing that comes out of our funds necessarily. It just flows through. We had overestimated that amount. We had left it at a level that was higher when our enrollments had been higher. So when HLC talks about responding to an assessment of your operations, where our enrollment was down, we should have reduced that number. It's not an audit finding for it to be higher than it actually is, but adjusting it reflects that we're responsive to what's actually happening. The other one related to capital outlay. With capital outlay, we budget the entire amount at the beginning of the year, and if construction doesn't take place till almost the end of the year, where you can have a very low expenditure into the budget, that one we can't help. We have to budget the full amount in the event that construction happens quickly, and we have the authorized budget to spend. The other one was modifications to the budget. The other thing that HLC noted is that we did talk about enrollment decline, but we didn't take the next step and look at our budget to see if our budget needed to be reduced for the decline in enrollment. We have been doing that consistently, and at the very last board meeting, we further reduced our budget by $100,000. That's the impact of the estimate for this year alone in declining enrollments. And that's the thing that we have to just consistently do, consistently assess, consistently respond. The biggie, I think, was that our resource allocation was not linked to a specific plan. So now our budgets are intricately linked to the strategic plan. Everything on the budget ties back to a goal and an objective of the department to go with the plan. Are there any questions on that portion? If not, I'm going to turn this over to Mandy for the other portion. Oh, Gabby first, sorry.
Hi. Okay, so we're going to go over criteria of 5B. This part has three sections or subsections. Under 5B, HLC has a guiding criterion which says the institution's governance and administrative structures promote effective leadership and support collaborative processes that enable the institution to fulfill its mission. And then under 5B1, we have the governing board is knowledgeable about the institution. It provides oversight of the institution's financial and academic policies and practices and meets its legal and fiduciary responsibilities. Under 5B2, the institution has and employs policies and procedures to engage its internal constituencies, including its governing board, administration, faculty, staff, students, in the institution's governance. Under 5B3, the administration, faculty, staff, and students are involved in getting academic requirements, policy, and processes through effective structures contribution and collaborative effort. Under all of those criteria, they gave us an action letter on July 19, 2018, and those were our findings of what they found in working finance with. There are a total of 4. 2 of them have been provided for the regional audit. The first one is, while the Board of Trustees has begun to understand its need to watchful and pay attention to academic, financial, legal, and fiduciary responsibilities. This newly founded awareness indicates both the need for additional training and education about local, state, and federal policies, and a shift in attention of the board to more rigorous and intentional policy development and oversight. The second one is, despite the adverse audit finding by the independent audit firm and the failure of the foundation to provide any written or electronic documents related to its current financial status, there is little evidence from the Board of Trustees that they acknowledge the serious nature of such event, and, this is the second one of that, the institution's current failure to attend to the external audit findings, along with the absence of succinct instructions from the Board of addressing noted inadequacies, provides evidence of either a lack of attention to the serious nature of the independent audit or wholesale non-compliance with audit findings. The last one is, without complete regard on the part of the Board of Trustees, the pledge of ethical behavior, continued dysfunctional actions, and meetings are quite possible. So with all those findings, we have what our response is and how everything has been fixed, and Amanda will provide that to you.
Hello.
Hi.
So I'm going to go over the responses, and I'm trying to pull most of this information specifically from the assurance argument, so that way everything's aligned. So for the first thing that we wanted to respond to was how the board actually got to do all of their trainings and everything to make them accountable for their roles and responsibilities, to give them that awareness, and to have them in accord. So in February 2018, they actually conducted a workshop that was a follow-up to another workshop in December of 2017 with Dr. Hugh Prather, and this was going over all of the roles and responsibilities that the board had to do, as well as setting up a mechanism to evaluate the president. So you all remember how we got like a feedback link, and we were able to do like a survey and things like that. So they received all of that training. They also had another training in August of 2018 with the ACCT consultant, and they facilitated a discussion on setting goals and identifying a common vision amongst the board. That discussion set up the stage for the board's review of the strategic plan. So there was a board retreat that was held in August, and at that retreat, Francisco Apodaca actually went and met with them, went over everything for the strategic plan, gave them the information of the direction that we were wanting to go, allowed for them to have input, feedback, ask questions, and develop that plan together. So they had a lot more input this time than they had in the past. So that's how that one was addressed. And then they also had, at that same retreat, Dawn, I believe, went over with them the financial emphasis, so they would understand what they needed to do to have more knowledge about the finances and institutional fiduciary responsibilities. And also, the Finance Committee addressed the foundation matter at several meetings, so that would be part of our evidence, so that would be recorded in all of the minutes and things like that. So they do have that education of the financial situation of the institution. So being that the Code of Ethics wasn't all signed at the time that we had our last HLC visit by all of the board members, that's why that continued to be a finding. So now all board members have signed the Code of Ethics, so that should have taken care of that. So going into 5C, which is another component of 5, the institution engages in systematic and integrated planning. That's the overall for 5C. So then we also have 5C1, which is resource allocation is aligned with mission and priorities. 5C2 links its processing for assessment of student learning, evaluation of operations, planning, and budgeting. 5C3, the planning process encompasses the institution as a whole and considers the perspectives of internal
and external constituent groups. 5C4, institution plans on the basis of its current capacity, fluctuations in revenue, enrollment, economy, state support. And that's some of what Donna had already touched on in 5A. Planning anticipates emerging factors, technology, demographic shifts, globalization. Okay, so that was 5 parts just to this one. So under this, the findings, I'm gonna get with you guys here. So the intentional alignment of budget to the mission is lacking. The linkage of budgeting to student learning, evaluation of operations, and planning is not evident. And the BOT awareness and involvement in strategic planning process not documented. So those 3, I think, probably sound a little bit familiar because they were already kind of in the other parts as well. So we're going to go over the responses now. So for 5C, the first response to that is the departmental reviews and budgets are now aligned with the strategic plan. Donna already also covered that in 5A. So since everybody had so much fun doing that, now you know that there's a reason behind it. So by us actually taking the extra time and doing all of that paperwork to get everything aligned, it actually cleared up a lot of these findings because we're finding that there is a theme here. Everything needs to be tied to our mission, everything needs to be tied to that strategic plan, and by us doing that with the departmental reviews and the budgets now, then we're going to be in compliance. Okay, so the next response is academic departments use data to drive decisions, incorporating Weave assessment software and their learning outcomes. I was able to tag team and have Kenneth answer some of that this morning. Do I have anybody that would like to maybe explain a little bit on the academic side how you have an extra step really to tie that to your learning outcomes, right? I'm going to use Susan Groman. Can you
We've done it always in nursing, I don't know what to say.
Okay.
We tie our course learning outcomes to our student learning outcomes to our program learning outcomes, and it's what's in Weave is what we go from that. So if you're an accredited program, like dental, like nursing, like business, all those are
Okay.
And the rest of us are just hanging with nursing now.
I think Weave has done a really good job of helping us develop our assessment, but now, in my personal opinion, and I know something we develop these forms that work really good, so we don't anymore, we just use our internal forms.
So
is Weave kind of like a reporting mechanism for you then, just to have it all like?
Right, because basically what we do is we have these forms that I'm sure everybody knows that we put in our student learning outcomes, our program learning outcomes, and we put in how many students met all these, then we upload Weave. Fine, we have it all right here. But I can understand it, because it does correlate with HLC or the HED 5 core measure or core competencies, and then we can pull up these and connect them to them, so I can see where there's that fit.
So really just more evidence, right? Documenting a little bit more.
It's a really good program.
On the other side, besides nursing, I mean, it really helped us on the academic side, because the title, they were doing it already. They had their own little systems, and we were so far behind them. Now we, on there's a portion you have to put in what budget, you have to assess it. And there's an area where you have to put in what budget you want to try to make that projected out.
I think
It's already in there.
That's why we're doing what we're doing. That's my goal.
Go to academic, what do you want?
That was good. That was pretty informative. Okay, so the next response is about the Board of Trustees retreat again, and again about the strategic planning. And this morning I did go into a little bit more detail. Is with the strategic planning, if you guys were here at the Wednesday's presentation, I know Maxine and Francisco went over that in great detail. Just to let you know, like for the assurance argument, Francisco was able to supply a lot of information. It showed the surveys that were actually sent out to the public, to the community members, how they received that feedback back. So there was input into the strategic plan. And then we also had our staff development week where we were able to sit down at all the tables together and give our ideas and information, all of that was gathered. And then they did the same thing at the board retreat. So the board members actually did all of that as well. So that's how we were able to get through that part where they achieved that and having more involvement in the process for the strategic planning. 5D. This is the last of the sections. Okay, so 5D works systematically to improve its performance. So that's what we're actually really trying to achieve. Let me read a little bit more. There's a detailed version here for you. So, well, not really on that one, that's the same thing. That was short and sweet. So, 5D1 is the institution develops and documents evidence of performance in its operations. 5D2 is the institution learns from its operational experience and applies that learning to improve its institutional effectiveness, capabilities, and sustainability overall and in its component parts. 5D4, the institution maintains effective systems for collecting, analyzing, and using institutional information. So in the action letter, the findings read like this, because there was two under D. The institution collects various data from its student information systems, GINZABAR. However, there is no evidence that this information is being used at the institutional level to learn from its operational experience and improve its institutional effectiveness. And the second part is, although multiple plans have been created or updated to document operational performance in several areas, including registrar, student services, financial aid, vocations, allied health, and academic affairs, these plans follow no established format, nor do they identify established procedures for documenting evidence of performance. So with those, here are our responses. So the college has implemented a systematic procedure to incorporate evidence in annual college-wide departmental reviews and strategic budgets. So there it is again. Don't feel like it's for nothing. There's a reason behind all of it. So have fun with that. Next year it'll just fully develop and then we'll learn from how we can keep making improvements there. And then for our second response about the data collection and what we're doing with data, well, the institution hired an institutional research director, which is Maxine Solis, and then together with Denise Gibson, we have our dynamic duo for collecting data and disseminating reports and having them centralized. So kudos to you guys. We really appreciate all that you do in that area. So thank you. They're also creating an LCC fact book. So Maxine did share with us this morning that that will be on the web soon. Did she say anything else? Just it'll be available soon. So once we have that up, that'll also just be further evidence that we have documented data. So in summary, in planning for continuous improvement of educational offerings and all operations, the aim remains to expand the opportunities in learning that are responsive to current trends, anticipate global demands, and provide flexibility to the population served. The college has become more efficient in its reporting and has resulted in more consistency in reporting across the institution. So we've done a lot to address all of the findings. There's probably more work that still needs to be done. But what a lot of things, well, I didn't know this last year whenever we first did all of this, there's a lot of behind the scenes work. So as people are sending out emails and requesting data or reports or minutes or agendas, there's a reason. Is because in this assurance argument that's actually sent to HLC, we have to show that evidence. It's kind of like put your money where your mouth is, because now you need to show us how you're actually implementing these things. It's not just saying we have meetings. You have to show that you have meetings. You have to show that you took minutes, that you have agendas, that you have actual implementation of the things that you're discussing. So that's where a lot of this stuff, if you go on to the accreditation link on the Luna page, everything's on there. The action letter that Gabby referred to earlier, that's on there. That's the one that's probably I think it's like 10 pages, and that one has everything pretty concise where you can see where all the findings were real specified. The assurance argument now, I think, is like 151 pages. I think this response was. So these forms are kind of designed to give you like a quick update on that, just so that way you know exactly, well, not exactly, right? More or less what's under each criteria, and it kind of gives you just an overview, right? Is that I don't think that the HLC team is going to come out and point blank say, Georgia, what is criteria 5, and expect you to scramble through and know exactly. But at least if they ask you, do you know if the strategic plan is anywhere near the budget? Well, we went over that several times. I think that that's very clear to everybody. That's a possibility that they might ask that. But do you guys have any questions? Because I know this is a lot of information, and just for us trying to put all of it together, it was a lot. So, anybody? Susan?
I just think what you're saying, collecting the data, having this information, like, okay, you say you do it, where is it? We have the saying in nursing, if you didn't document it, you didn't do it. And that's exactly what HLC is saying. It's like, okay, where are you doing this? Where does it show in all the stuff you've done? So it's just like, oh yeah, we've done it all the time. We just now have to prove what we've done.
Exactly, and I'm sure you probably appreciated that Donna had the whole medical tie-in at the beginning about the checkup, right? Oh, okay, well, yeah. So that's exactly right, and sometimes I think Donna tried to discuss earlier that some of these things have been done. We just didn't maybe know that we needed to document it a certain way. So that's been a real learning process for the whole school. So I think at every level we have some level of documentation that we have to maintain. So in the event that we're asked, did you do this? Did you seek feedback? Did you do this? So, and that's why I think Dr. Ball is also pushing for the feedback link to be something that we don't forget about, because the good, the bad, and the ugly. I mean, if there's something that we want to praise a department for, that's a place to do that too. So we want to be positive and keep the momentum going, because we still have a lot of work ahead of us, and the team will be here in March. We're going to be forming like a welcoming committee that will be able to see to the needs of the team, just taking them between meetings and forums and making sure their office space is good for them. So if anybody wants to volunteer for that, let me know too, because we're doing all of that this next week. But we want to be as transparent as possible, so if you guys do have questions, this is a lot. I mean, I won't have all the answers, guaranteed, but if there's something that we can find for you, or maybe get a better explanation, I'm happy to help with that, so. Any other questions?
I have a question, Donna. I know that back in the day, we were all helping fundraise for foundation, and there was a time when the foundation met a certain amount of money. Title V was going to match that. Did we lose that?
Those funds are still under the control of the foundation. We didn't lose anything, but their matching efforts, we don't have that. We don't have that particular Title V grant. I'm not sure exactly what your question is.
Well, because I know there was a deadline, and because foundation kind of stopped for a while, I didn't know if we still lost the opportunity, not lost the money.
No, there was no opportunity during this period for matching funds for the Title V. There was no Title V grant for the last 2 years.
But there was something that I think, I'm not sure if it was Sarah or Teresa that was working on it, and if they matched so much, there was a grant that was gonna.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. That was matched fully to its capacity for the grant at that time.
It was, okay.
Yes, we did raise, the foundation did raise all the matching funds to get those, the Title V matching funds to go with it. It was all matched.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Anything else? Okay, well, thank you for taking the